Die staatskapingsjare is minister Pravin Gordhan beskou as 'n baken van lig vir 'n land wat desperaat was vir hoop. Sedertdien is baie Suid-Afrikaners verdeeld oor Gordhan. Ons sit met 'n reuse kragkrisis en ons spoorwegnetwerk styer. So baie Suid-Afrikaners wonder of Gordhan as politieke hoof van Transnet, Eskom en die ander staatsondernemings nie meer kan doen om die agteruitgang te stuit nie. Ek het met hom hieroor gepraat in sy kantoor, 'n klip gooi van die brandbeskadigde nasionale vergadering. Die 74-jarige Gordhan is reeds sedert 1994 'n bekende gesig in regeringskringe. Meer onlangs was hy die minister van Finansies van 2009 tot 2014 en toe weer tussen 2015 en 2017. Sedert 2018 beklee hy die pos van minister van Openbare Ondernemings.
Eskom, in an interesting way, is also one of the challenges that we face as South Africans, and we know that as government, as the board and management and the staff in Eskom, we'll get it right in the next year or two, but it'll take a bit of time.
So a year or two. What do you know now that you didn't know then?
That there'll be a lot more ups and downs than we anticipated, firstly. Secondly, that contractors who are given the job of repairing and returning units often don't do so on time. Thirdly, that there is something amiss in terms of the operating culture within power stations. So overall, this is a difficult patch that we're going through. But at the end of that, there is a solution waiting to be, if you like, put together. And the key ingredients are pretty much there to make it happen.
Following your oust as finance minister, you delivered a very powerful and sort of famous speech about connecting the dots. This was following the state capture years. Do you think that you were perhaps naive back then in thinking that this problem will be solved quickly and expeditiously? And it seems as though some of these patronage networks are still very much in place.
Every society and every economy would have patronage networks of one kind or another. The question is to what extent have those networks been able to engage in either policy capture? In other instances, the networks plus the culture that goes with the networks are quite deep. So the state capture didn't just mean that you walked off with a couple of bundles of cash in a bag or whatever the case might be. It was that through the procurement processes, but it also put in wrong people in the wrong places, chased out honest people in the process, disrupted systems and processes and culture and discipline.
I just think that there's this deep frustration that many South Africans have when they look at the issue of the construction mafias. We also have transport mafias. That there's almost this sense that criminality in South Africa is, it's such a big problem, and it's something that government doesn't seem to have a proper handle on, and that these criminals are actually in control in various areas. Is there really nothing more government can do?
No, the law enforcement side of the state must do what it has to do.
And if it doesn't?
Then it must improve its service and improve its capability. But remember, any beneficiary of a particular process, whether it's in the private sector or public sector, who has that benefit tempered with or seized or whatever the case might be, will find a way of reacting.
But what about blatant acts and these, I just want to come back to these patronage networks of criminals.
No, they must be dealt with.
But it does seem as though...
They must be dealt with.
Previous Eskom CEO André de Ruyter, when he attempted to clamp down on some of these organizations, he did that interview where he referred to cartels, coal cartels.
No, but he also could have done a lot more. Let's leave it at that for now. I don't want to tit for tat with him.
No, that's not what I want to do either. But are you...
He didn't do enough. He didn't do enough. A lot more could have been done.
But did he enjoy political protection?
Yes. If he came to me and said, I need support X, he got it. But he let us down.
But when an ANC MP says in Parliament that load shedding is not the end of the world, is that not out of touch with reality and with society?
Yeah, I think that's said in a particular context, at a particular time. And I think the point that is being made is that 30 years ago, not all South Africans had access to electricity.
I think most South Africans would be forever grateful for what you did with the South African Revenue Service.
Well, that's history.
Why does it seem you haven't been able to do that with Eskom, Transnet in this?
No, because those are different institutions. And I'm not an executive manager. I'm merely a minister. We take political accountability, but often people don't understand that on the one hand, you're saying you're meddling, right? On the other hand,
you're not meddling enough.
Their job. That's their job. My job is to say, I'm setting the bar. Right, now you must make sure you reach the bar or go beyond it. I remain the shareholder minister until the elections.
And then after that?
And after that, somebody will be given that responsibility.
Are you willing to then call it a day on serving in a government position after the elections?
Yeah, I think so.
What do you think your legacy will be?
No, one must be glad that one has had the privilege, I have had the privilege, to contribute both to the struggle against apartheid, but also be part of the process of building new institutions for the new South Africa. And I've done my best. Some of it might have worked, some of it might not have worked, but none of us is perfect.
But when we do look at the energy crisis, the destruction of our rail network, many South Africans feel hopeless and that we're too far down the road to turn it around.
No, there's definitely hope. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here in a democratic South Africa. It is hope, it is optimism, it is vision, and it is the determination to give effect to that vision. I can certainly assure South Africans that there's absolute optimism and hope for a much better future. But we've got to learn to work with each other. We've got to learn to respect each other. We've got to learn to understand that we are all South Africans with one country that we have to defend, protect, and advance so that the next generation, like yours, can benefit from that.